My name is Jeff Hayes, and this video is that of information, but this was the first video, so we're not going to go into any of the other the wrongs that are going on with this whole system. This is just the cornerstone, the base stone, to get you to understand what happened during when this was ratified in 1973 and what is wrong with it and still wrong with it, because it's a scam. It doesn't hold those responsible that should be responsible. So let's get started on this. Okay, this video has nothing to do with abortion. That's not the issue here. This video is to validate the rights mentioned here within. This is a checkoff list that I feel that a woman should go through before, because her pregnancy is a serious thing and not to be taken lightly, because you're bringing a life into the world. Everybody has rights, and with each right comes a burden of responsibility if you exercise your rights. Okay, no individual shall have to bear the burden of responsibility for another individual's exercising their rights. This is what equality means. You're equal. You have the right to fail or succeed along with the rest of us guys. Okay, now you can look this up on Wikipedia. I'm just showing a lot of it, and I put it in there just so I can talk. That's where it was ratified in 1973. It goes in movements. You can download this yourself. Okay, this is where the overall view. It says a pregnancy should be her personal choice, as it involves her body, personal health, and future. See, this lays her right, exclusive right, because it involves her body. So that means she needs to be responsible about her body and pregnancy to reproduce. Why doesn't she have to bear the burden of responsibility? We'll get to that in the next video. This is just to point out what actually happened when this was ratified. It says individual liberty and reproductive. Consensual sex between a man and a woman is not anything to the same as consenting to aid a woman in her right to reproduce. Let's get that straight. Let's go into some other stuff. And like I said, this is not about abortion. That's a whole different pickle thing. At no time were there any burden of responsibilities imposed or assigned to limit or prevent abuse of said right to reproduce. And that's true. You got women just having kids just to get an income. And most of the guys that they're having sex with, they probably more than likely lied to him about being on birth control. So the guy was unknowingly involved in her right to reproduce without his knowledge or his consent. And he should not have to bear the burden. She should, if she was going to be that irresponsible. And we'll get into that on the second video. Okay, these are things of why a woman can abort. Financial constraints. Well, there's none. The poor sucker that she sapped into, didn't tell that she was planning on having a kid. He didn't know, or else he wouldn't have gone through with the thing. Here it says education. These women that are abusing this system aren't going through education. I guarantee it. There's a lot of them around this area. And a lot of states that, like Oklahoma and Arizona, that don't hold these people responsible. And everybody else has to pay for them. And even young men that are trying to get their lives started and get shanghaied by some chick or some woman that's irresponsible. It's the irresponsible women that utilize their right to reproduce, which means a means of income without regard to the concern or consequences. This is a serious moral and ethical issue that hasn't been addressed, that have very serious implications and side effects of a woman's right to reproduce. That's true. I mean, they need to be held responsible. This is their right. And the female community, you need to educate your daughters. Apparently, around this area, the only education they get from their mothers or grandmothers is, if you don't want to work and you don't want to get married because the ALCU took away all the morality in this country when they went through their rampage. Sure, you don't have to entrap some guy to marry you. You can just entrap some guy to, aid you in your right to reproduce, and he'll have to pay for it. That's wrong. Full disclosure must be included if a woman decides to utilize her right to reproduce. Because without that, we're coming to that. And that'll be addressed in full on the next video. I'm not sure. Consent, I feel, must be in writing and not some lame excuse of members of our judicial system, because it's been set up for sex discrimination against males the whole time. They feel we're responsible, it's our fault, and it's not. It's her right, her responsibility. This is some other things that I would tell to them. We're all equal and have been for decades. You need to change your system, because I know I'm tired of it. And I'm hoping after this video a lot of other people are going to be tired of it, because this is actual documentation of these rights. And this is where a lot of these women, this deceitful act is known as entrapment, and that is illegal. That's a violation of his right not to be involved in her exercising her right to reproduce. Something that important must be done in full disclosure, and a marriage certificate doesn't give the right to reproduce. You know, because you can't say, oh, you're married, so she has the right to reproduce anytime she wants without telling you. That's wrong, because I know some people that got married, and the males wanted to have children right away, and the woman didn't want to, so he had to respect that. So she has to show that same respect and inform him that this is what she's wanting. She can't come out of blue and nail him with it, because a marriage certificate is not consent for him to have to pay for her right to reproduce if she has not gotten the clearance through him, since he had to get the clearance through her, because that's her responsibility. And a lot of these women abusing it think that they can just spit out a kid and everybody else has to pay for it. That's not true. It's their responsibility. It concerns their body. It's their problem, and they need to be held accountable for it, not society. And if you have to start locking these women up, that's fine by me, because I feel it's high time and ready. But we'll go further into that later on the next video. So I appreciate your time. I hope this was educational. And if it does answer a few of your concerns, maybe it's time to get a group going and get this taken care of. Y'all have a good day, and we'll talk to you on the next video.